Hello everyone. In this class, we'll learn about aging. Theories of aging. The biological changes of aging are clearer than the mechanisms that mediate it. The common changes include in aging are chromosomal abnormalities, increased DNA cross-linking, increased frequency of single-strand breaks in DNA, decrease in DNA methylation, loss of DNA telomeric sequences, increased post-translational changes in proteins, deamidation, oxidation, and non-enzymatic glycation of proteins, deformation in mitochondrial structure. Aging is multifactorial. There are many theories of aging that are not completely compatible in their explanation. However, they can be broadly divided into two categories, that is genetic theories and random damage theories. Genetic theories of aging. Genetic theories of aging are based on the programmed senescence, which means that at the time of birth, the time of aging and death has been predetermined. That means the aging is pre-programmed by biological timetable. Three genetic theories have been developed recently. First one is mutation theory. The first one is mutation theory. Usually the animals die much before completion of their expected lifespan due to adverse effect of natural forces. Therefore, this theory suggests that importance of mutation that retards long survival. The mutations pile up in the genes that are transferred from generation to generations. Second theory is theory of pleiotropic antagonism. This theory, which proposes that aging is caused by the harmful effects of genes. These unfavorable genetic effects are preserved for the purpose of survival, and these properties are imparted prior to reproduction. The third one is ecological theory, that this applies to the ecological condition where external hazards are less. In such favorable environments, the mutation is such that the aging process is retarded to allow the animal to reproduce and protect the offsprings. Coming to random damage theories. The random damage theory explains that the aging is due to the loss of balance between ongoing damage and repair. The continuous tissue damage in the body occurs due to the constant production of free radicals and by processes of oxidation and glycation. However, the damage is immediately repaired by regenerating anti-stress mechanisms. With advancement of age, especially after the age of 40 years, capacity to repair cells, tissues, and organ decline. Regenerative senescence was also suggested to be due to the arrest of the cell cycles at the G1S phase. This is the phase in cell cycle at which synthesis of DNA starts. Thus, DNA synthesis is impaired in them. The role of cell replication. In recent times, the length of the telomeric DNA also has been associated to cell replication. Telomeric DNA is present at the ends of chromosomes. Telomeric DNA has the following important functions. It prevents chromosomal instability. It slows the chromosomal fragmentation and rearrangement. It anchors the chromosome to the nuclear matrix. It acts as a buffer between coding regions of DNA and the ends of the chromosomes, and it is also necessary for cell divisions. There are about 2000 base pairs of the telomere. During each cell division, approximately 50 base pairs are lost. Thus, division decreases the length of telomeric DNA. Telomeric shortening causes loss of gene accessibility. Gene accessibility is necessary to repair the cell damage that occurs continuously by metabolic processes. Thus, telomeric shortening slows the repair process. Along with cytoplasmic factors that mediate arrest of DNA synthesis, telomeric shortening limits the ability of the cell to divide, which prevents replacement of cells that are lost by apoptosis. Then, importance of calorie intake. Strongly implicated in aging is calorie consumption. Increased calorie intake after the age of 40 has been proved to facilitate aging. It has been observed that calorie restriction delays the onset of aging. the calorie restriction by about 30% of the total calorie intake has been documented to have the following effects. They increase the average life expectancy and maximum lifespan. It delays the onset of age-associated diseases. It decreases the deterioration of the physiological processes like immune responsiveness, glucose metabolism, muscle atrophy. It influences the gene expression, protein turnover, and cross-linking. The impact of general calorie restriction is different from specific dietary restriction like restriction of the fat and etc. However, the calorie restriction must be supplemented with vitamins and antioxidants to prevent aging. The role of free radicals and oxidative stress in aging. These radicals damage the cells and tissues by the process of oxidation. Free radicals damage DNA and proteins and cause peroxidation of lipids in the membranes. This is called oxidative stress. However, simultaneously, a scavenging system of antioxidants also exists in the body that neutralizes the toxic effects of free radicals. Antioxidants include glutathione, vitamin E, vitamin A, and vitamin C. Oxidative stress becomes more when production of oxidants is more than the generation of antioxidants. And oxidative stress promotes aging. Atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is the process of narrowing of lumen of blood vessels due to deposition of lipid materials on the inner endothelial lining of blood vessels. Atherosclerosis is the physiological process that starts almost at infancy. In childhood, atherosclerosis starts in aorta and larger arteries. As age advances, atherosclerosis starts in smaller arteries and arterioles. Due to atherosclerosis, blood supply to the organ and tissues of the body decreases, that causes structural and functional degenerations. This is the natural process of degeneration or aging and of death. Some of the geriatric changes that occurs during aging process. Though there is no clear-cut demarcation of age to say that individual has entered the geriatric age group, usually age more than 60 years is considered for this purpose. The body physiology changes in geriatric age group. The increase in blood pressure, osteoporotic changes in the bones, decreased digestive functions, decreased immunity, decreased audiovisual acuity, loss of memory, and decreased sensory motor responses are common physiological changes that are seen in old age. Increased incidence of diabetes, hypertension, malignancies, and GI dysfunctions are common in elderly. This list shows the different physiological changes and their effect in different organ system. Generally, there is increased fat mass of the body, and also there will be decrease in body water content. That increases the proneness to the atherosclerotic diseases and susceptibility to rapid dehydration. Then some of the respiratory changes where it leads to decreased compliance of the chest wall, lung parenchyma, and decreased activity of cuff reflex. That decreases the ventilation and decreases the partial pressure of oxygen, and it also leads to easy aspiration. Some of the cardiovascular changes that are seen are decreased arterial compliance, decreased beta receptor sensitivity, decreased SA nodal activity, and decreased baroreceptor sensitivity. So that leads to increased systolic blood pressure, decreased cardiac output, decreased heart rate, impaired blood pressure regulation, especially in response to standing. In GIT, there is a reduced hepatic, gastric acidity, and colonic motility. There will be reduced colonic motility. That causes impaired intermediary metabolisms and impaired digestion and leads to constipation. Some of the hematologic changes that occurs because of the decreased bone marrow activity, that is anemia. On immune system, where there will be reduced T cell functions and increased autoantibodies that causes decreased defenses, false positive rheumatoid factor and anti-nuclear autoimmune diseases. Renal system, it leads to decreased GFR, impaired capacity of urine concentration and dilution, which leads to impaired excretion of waste products and increased serum creatinine. And it also leads to reduced ability to excrete salt or fluid. Some of the endocrine changes are there will be impaired insulin secretion, decreased thyroxine secretion, and thyroxine clearance. There will be increased ADH release and decreased aldosterone secretion. There will be decreased testosterone secretion and vitamin D activation. These leads to increased glucose level, leads to diabetes and decreased body metabolism, impaired sodium and water excretion, impotence, osteopenia and easy fractures. Whereas nervous system, there will be general brain atrophy, decreased catecholamine secretion, and there will be decreased brain dopaminergic synthesis and decreased writing reflexes, decreased stage 4 sleep and impaired thermal regulation. So that leads to forgetfulness, confusion, psychological gloominess, stiff gait and postures on walking, body sways and may even fall, and they get up early in the morning. There can be insomnia, sleep apnea, and there can be reduced body temperature. Musculoskeletal system, there can be decreased muscle mass and decreased bone density, which leads to weakness, osteopenia and easy fracture. Some of the vaginal genitourinary changes are atrophy of the vaginal mucosa in females, and males it is a prostate enlargement, which leads to dyspareunia, bacterial infection and urinary incontinence. Eyes and ears, it leads to presbyopia, pacification of the lens, that's cataract, and reduced sound conduction, which leads to decreased accommodation, decreased vision and decreased audition. These are some of the important points related to aging. Thank you.